Everybody wants financial freedom, but they ignore one of the easiest paths to get it because it doesn't look sexy. I've built a $30 million business in the trades, and I've helped hundreds of other people create $1 million company and create financial freedom. And today I'm gonna break down the biggest reasons why people ignore this multi-million-dollar business opportunity and why it's one of the biggest opportunities to become financially free in 2025 and beyond. So let's get into it. First, society doesn't really respect the trades, and it's why it's one of the biggest opportunities to build financial freedom in 2025 and beyond. I literally started a painting business because I knew I could create financial freedom with it, and that's what I did. I was making 6 figures a year, working part-time, I was traveling all over the world, and I had a great life. And for the first 3 years of the business, I was literally trying to get out of it. I was putting all my other time into starting other businesses that were cooler, that were sexier. It was in 2013 where I realized this is a really great business. It's not going anywhere. It got a huge market. It's growing every year. The bar to compete is really low. And I decided to go all in on the painting business in 2013. For the last decade, every single time that I tell people who don't know me that I run a painting business, people just assume that I'm a painter or I'm a guy with a van and a brush and that I'm actually out there painting. Like, there's no way for me to make running a painting business sound cool, even though I know what I'm doing is pretty cool. Like, I run an amazing business with an amazing team. I make incredible money. I have an incredible lifestyle. But when you hear or think about running a painting business, an HVAC company, a landscaping company, it just doesn't sound cool. It's got low status associated with it. So it's not about what looks cool. It's about what actually creates financial freedom and creates that awesome opportunity for you, which exists in the trades. Next, most people think owning a trades business means you're the one doing the trade, and they couldn't be more wrong. So the reality is that in the trades, probably 99% of the businesses out there are guys doing the work, but there's also thousands and thousands of companies, and a lot of them aren't doing the work. I would not recommend hiring me to do your painting because it's not what I'm really good at. There's a lot of people though who are amazing at the trade and the craft. And what I've gotten really good at is how to hire and find those amazing people and create a great work environment where people who are excellent at the craft love to work, and they contribute back to the business to help make it better. If you want to create real freedom, you have to build a business big enough that you make a lot of money, and you have to build it big enough that you have a team that runs the day-to-day. It's no different in the trades. If you run a trade business, it doesn't mean you're doing the trade. And if you're running the business the right way, you shouldn't be doing the trade, or you shouldn't be doing it for very long. Next reason up, you haven't seen or heard of a lot of people who are killing it in the trades. And this is for good reason. Sherwin-Williams, who I have a great relationship with, the data they shared with me is that their average contractor account spends about $15,000 a year on paint. Knowing the numbers of this business, that means the average contractor out there is doing $70,000 or $80,000 a year in business and doing most of the painting themselves. People assume that that is most of the market, but you don't hear about the 0.5% of people who are running multi-million-dollar businesses with teams in place who are making hundreds of thousands of dollars per year. The longer I've been in this business, the more I have met those people, and not just in my industry, but in all of the trade industries. But they don't talk about it because these are guys running trade businesses, not running social media companies. So just because you don't hear about it gives the illusion that it doesn't exist. But there are tons of businesses out there who are doing amazing things, and business owners who have created an amazing lifestyle, and they're continuing to grow and level up, and there's more of them every single day. Next reason is the myth that online businesses or other businesses are easier. The reality is that there aren't any businesses that are just super easy. Every business is hard, every business has challenges. There's nothing that's easy about any business. There's no shortcuts, there's no like business model, there's no drop shipping, there's no course, there's no consulting. Your job is to solve problems. There's just all these business opportunities out there, and you just have to look at all of them. And as far as I can tell, the online business is just super flooded, and in any business, how you get ahead is you literally just have to do a better job than everybody else is doing. In the trades, it's pretty easy to do that. I've already cited facts earlier in this video about how many people are actually out there doing the trade, how few people are actually building it like a business. So the real opportunity in any business is to come into a business and be able to execute that business better than the people who are already in that industry. And the sexiest opportunities that are the most pumped, the most hyped, where most people are pouring into, means there's a lot more competition, and the competition is more leveled up. So it's actually harder in the more popular industries to compete than it is in the less popular ones, which is why I think there's such a huge opportunity in the trades, is because they're still underestimated, underinvested in, and under pursued. So now let's talk about why the trades work so well. Low startup costs, high demand, simple services, pretty easy business model to execute and build, already proven. The biggest thing that people screw up when they're building and scaling a painting company is just making it more complex than they need to. The market is so big that you can just do exterior and interior residential repaints and build a giant company. In fact, there's a company in Colorado that only does exterior residential repaints, and they do over $30 million a year. Simple is not a flaw. Simplicity of the business is a feature of the business. And this simplicity can apply to a lot of other trades where you can make it really complex. I can make painting more complex, but you can scale it to $1 million to $3 million operation, keeping it really simple. The same is true in a lot of the other trades and home services. Yes, there are things to learn in every single home service and trade. There are things that you need to master, but that's gonna be true in every career, every profession, and every business. At least in this one, we have a giant proven market and a relatively simple business and a giant labor pool of people who are really good at doing the work, which you're not supposed to be doing. And then we have a shortage of people who know how to do marketing, sales, manage delivery and projects, and build teams. So if you can get really good at these things, the labor pool is there. And your job as a business owner is to find the best talent in the labor pool and pull them into your company. So even when there's a labor shortage, at our company, we've never had an issue with labor because we know how to find great people. The people who are having trouble with a labor shortage are the people who don't know how to recruit and find talent. Now, how do you actually get started with a home service or trades business? It's easier than you think. You can go and find a ton of answers on YouTube, on Google, from ChatGPT. There are also endless Facebook groups where you can go and learn the trade and the craft. And when you actually start a business, every one of these home services has vendors that sell the equipment or the materials. And they have an incentive for you to succeed because if you succeed, they sell you more stuff. Yes, you need to learn this stuff, and the bar is pretty low for what you need to learn to be able to do your job as the business owner. You don't have to be the tradesperson who's doing the work. You can hire those people. You need to know enough to ensure that you deliver the right service and to be able to talk cogently and hire the right people. As I said before, I'm not a good painter. So this is the framework for how you build and scale a home service business from nothing to freedom. So we want to build a team that runs the day-to-day, and the business needs to be big and healthy to get there. So that's what I call phase 2 of the business. It's where you're building the team. But before you can build the team, you've got to complete phase 1 of the business, which is building the foundation. And when you're building the foundation of a business, there's a handful of things that you have to get right so that you can set yourself up for success with building the team. First thing is you need to have a really strong business plan. You got to know your numbers inside and out. That means your marketing and sales numbers, projected and week over week, what you're actually doing, your project management numbers, your profit per project and per client. You need to map your financials monthly to make sure you're on track. Next, we need to have marketing dialed in. You've got to be able to bring a lot of customers through the door and do it really profitably and be able to grow that. You have to have your pricing in place. Your pricing needs to be set up so that you're making the proper profit margins no matter what your competitors are doing. You have to make healthy profit margins or you can't scale. Then we have to get sales in place. Sales is how you turn potential customers into paying customers without compromising your price. And then we need project management or delivery. That's how we actually fulfill our promises to customers, get great reviews, get referrals, and then we need to get some CRM set up in place so you're tracking all your customer data and all your numbers accurately. That's what I call phase 1 of the business. It's the hardest part for most people because in phase 1, you're the one who is doing the marketing, doing the sales, managing the projects, updating all the numbers, and you have to get good at all those things, and you have to document all those things. But that's fundamentally the 2 phases to building the business. It takes most people anywhere from 3 to 5 years to make it happen if they're doing it the right way. So this brings me to the last point. There is a huge edge that you can get in business that's not gonna last forever. We live in the most amazing time right now where basically every single business problem that you're gonna encounter in building your business, in really any business, has already been solved by other people. And not only has it been solved by other people, but there's people who are selling the solutions. I started teaching people and coaching people how to build a painting business online in 2013, and there was no one else doing it, period. When I was coming up, there were no resources I could tap into. I had to figure out damn near everything myself, and it took years. We had a 30% sales rate, and then we had to figure out how to get to 35, and then 40, and then 45, and then 50, and we just grinded it out for years through trial and error, through testing and failure, and it was a pain in the ass to figure everything out ourselves. Fortunately now, for me and for you and for everybody, you can tap into years and years of trial, error, experiment, and failure from other people to get the solutions to the problems that you have today in your business. All you have to do is be willing to invest money in yourself, which is worth it because your time is the most valuable resource, and the amount of money people are charging to give out coaching is insane. Like, it's super underpriced. The reality is most people today are still not investing in themselves, their education, and mastering their business and their craft. And of the very small percentage of people who do invest, most of them don't apply aggressively what they're learning. If you can first be someone who is willing to bet on yourself and invest in yourself and value your time, you will be ahead of most of the market. Your competition is everyone out there. Most people are not investing to get ahead. But I can tell you that I, to this day, invest hundreds of thousands of dollars per year with people who are further along than me, who have solved the problems that I have not yet solved, so that I can solve them faster and move faster. And that has probably been what has helped me the most in my career, is just my willingness to invest in myself, to hire coaches, and to apply what I've learned, and to not be stingy and cheap in my own training and development. If you want to see how I would build $1 million painting company in the first year, check out this other video about exactly how I would do it.